Greetings and good day, everyone. My name is Michelle Little. I am the producer of the Beautiful Dying Expo and these Beautiful Dying Insights that we do practically on a daily basis. We are holding our expo virtually this year on November 12th, 13th, and 14th. So please go ahead to the website and sign up. It's free to attend everything right now. So it's a good time to get in and say yes, yes, yes. My guest today is Evo Heyning. And we go back a very, very long time. I wanted to just say a little bit about that. I mean, I don't know if you know Evo, but we've known each other since the 1990s.
Through the grapevine.
Yeah, it's been a pretty amazing journey all the way through to where we are today. Like, who knew what we knew then about each other that would bring us to this place today? And I'm very, very excited to have you with me today. And I won't keep you long. And so I just want to tell everybody else about who you are, and then you can add in things. I mean, there's plenty of information that's already placed out there on the post and the video for you here today. And so what I really want to talk about with you today is, what is it like to be a producer for live, hybrid, and virtual experiences? I know that you've done a lot, including memorials and funerals, and how to create those to bring people together in love and understanding, even though we can't all be together in one place. And so I really want to talk about those types of things, how you do these live streaming and interactive events, as well as, you know, who you are as an individual that is of service to everyone, not only in this kind of environment, but also trained as a chaplain, officiant, and contributor to many books and the virtual memorial guide. So I'd like to talk about all of those things today, if it's possible, and if we can't. We'll just continue
and we'll start the conversation and continue from there. Absolutely. It's great to be here with you, Michelle. You've got such an interesting breadth of experience in producing, and my experience in producing is sort of the other side of the coin, the creative technology implementation, figuring out, for example, a live streaming workflow and where that can live for a community. And that can be, for example, like a 2D experience like Zoom or Facebook Live, what we're here doing today, but also with the 3D experience, right? The Metaverse, virtual worlds, and VR, all of these places. So for some of the experiences I enjoy creating, they are fully immersive worlds. And that can be for research and development, or for communities to come together, and in some cases for funerals and for memorials as well. We have had a handful of memorials and weddings and other types of ceremonies in fully virtual spaces with all virtual attendees. And that can be avatars, that can also be live streaming. This year, we've also done fully live streaming memorials with hundreds of people from all over the world contributing to an active, interactive process. And that happens sometimes here on Zoom. So the first funeral I hosted during this pandemic has been an event for someone who I cared about very much as a friend. And we had about 300 people attend. And that memorial went for 4.5 hours. And there were joyful breakout rooms for song and dance. And then there were more ceremonial rooms where Native American elders brought people together. There were a wide variety of experiences for their community, depending on how you knew the person who passed. And so that's something that we used to do maybe at the wake, right? People would be in their own rooms having conversations that were, you know, unique to their community and unique to the people that they shared. And so the last memorial that I produced was last month for someone who I also deeply cared about, my former housemate. And again, we used the breakout rooms method in Zoom, in part because it allowed for the privacy necessary for the conversations that wanted to happen, but also for the ease of use. And so in that case, those 4 different groups just sort of broke off into their own natural groups. And while the memorial that was curated was 45 minutes long, the experience itself was closer to 2 hours, and then had the experience of both a memorial and a wake in one. So I like creating the format to that, right? Helping a group or helping a family, helping anyone who's grieving or trying to figure out how to create that space, figuring out the right format, almost like producing a TV show or an event, you end up matching the intention to how can that be produced in a virtual space or live streaming space together.
Mm-hmm. I mean, one of the things that I wanted to do since this pandemic hit us and deciding what to do with the expo, do we continue on or not, was doing a 3D virtual. I really wanted to do that, but everybody was like, well, it's brand new, and the older people probably won't know how to get in, and how are we going to do all that? And so I was it was a pushback, but I want to continue to look at that and make that a fun place where people can, my idea of it, and you can tell me if this works or not, is you enter in to register, you pick your avatar, you can pick a hat, and then and you can see yourself walking through the explore, and you see things on a 3D, not just one-dimensional. Here's a picture of the banner, go into their workspace. I really want people to be able to feel the moment of entering into an exhibitor booth space, or even being on the main stage. So that would really excite me. And if it was simple enough to have people register like that, and like pick these things like little dolls. I remember when I was a little girl, we did the paper dolls, and you put them out.
Yeah. Avatars are much like dolls in that way, in that they become a representation of this playful version of yourself. And they are pretty easy to create sort of simple rooms. And so some events like the Expo choose to use platforms like Hopin, for example, how we're doing the Expo, but then have a 3D virtual room that's like a lounge that people can just show up into, right? A conversation zone. And that can look like a lakeside retreat, or that can look like a sci-fi lounge for a different type of conference. It has any number of tones. There's an event I'm doing in the fall where we're going to do a virtual experience for probably the same number of people that will be together physically. And this is for a suicide prevention organization. And so figuring out with them, how do we create safe, private, wonderful places for communities and people to meet and gather, and do a fundraiser at the same time, right? A live streaming, in this case, a comedy event about suicide and about suicide prevention, which is an important cause, but something that's difficult sometimes for people to come to an event for, right? So this is where we can break down walls to participation. We can sometimes make it easier for the elder participant or the disabled participants, and anyone who has an accessibility challenge who can't come to a physical event might find that either going on Hopin or coming into a 3D space. When we talk about hybrid experiences, and this is something that I've heard many of my clients come and they're like, well, we want to, now that people are comfortable with virtual, we want to do hybrid, right? We're going to come physically together a little bit. We might have this little piece of our experience that is connected and in person, as well as something that's completely virtual. And it might be a mix, right? It might be live streams here, a 3D world over there, and then a physical meetup at a hotel or a conference center. And these links, right, between the zones, that's where the hybrid experience shines. And that's where interactivity has to serve human connection, right? At the end of the day, you want to help humans have a heart-to-heart, meaningful connection. So the type of interaction, are we going to play a game? Are we going to have a conversation together? Are we going to ask questions and be an inquiry or be collaborative? Each type of space does a different thing well. And that's the work I do at Playable, is figuring out how do we make an experience suited to the type of interaction, suitable to the type of like meaningful encounters that you're trying to have. And that can be for a memorial or for any type of professional gathering.
You brought up Playable. Why don't you share a little bit about Playable Agency?
Well, so we began that team early on, pre-pandemic actually, to think about the hybrid experience. And then our pandemic hit. And I found that my experience lied in specifically virtual experiences. And that includes virtual experiences in the metaverse and 3D worlds, virtual experiences that are available on your phone in augmented reality and different apps, moving across social media, but also thinking about the live, social, meaningful experience, right? How do you make that impactful? How do you make that more collaborative or more easy to access in some cases. So every challenge that comes in the door, whether it's a campaign or an event, a festival, I have moved more into the strategy seat, and frequently I just do the problem solving for a team early on. As a producer, most teams don't necessarily have someone in-house who knows both technology and creativity, as well as how to organize and format. For example, for a memorial, it's a very unique set of skills, and most people aren't necessarily born out of the box able to host a memorial effectively, because I'm trained as a chaplain, but most people who are producers aren't also able to put on a chaplain hat and ask those questions too.
Right. And that is so amazing. I mean, you wear so many hats, and your creativity just travels. I think we use the word I don't know what you just said, multidimensional perhaps, and how you fit yourself in to this world is just so incredibly amazing and so needed. And you are so unique. You are one of the most unique people I've ever met, and all the ways that you can create life in a virtual space, how you interact with people face to face, physically. I'm blown away about how you can embrace so much from this world into your space, your living space, your world itself, and how you honor so many people and serve so many in so many different ways. I mean, just from your chaplaincy and your being an officiant and this contributor to all of these beautiful memorial guides. And I'd like to hear more about this virtual memorial guide, if you wouldn't mind.
That was a project that a group of friends at Quarantine took on early on in the pandemic. And after that first memorial, we ended up having a set of conversations specifically on designing the user experience for memorials in the virtual space, because again, most of us didn't know how to use Zoom to do something that would be like a memorial. And so there are technical challenges, but there's also templates in the virtual memorial guide, which is, I believe, at virtualmemorialguide.org. They had many contributors come together who were able to decipher both the sort of meaningful format choices, the templating that any family can use. And so if your family or if your community has been struggling with how to create a virtual memorial, it's really designed for an out-of-the-box solution. I was happy to be a contributor to it, but honestly, I just gave them a few hours of just insight from the production workflow point of view. I would say that there are a handful of really great teams out there providing these sort of virtual legacy services now. I've consulted a handful of companies that are working on AI storytelling tools, for example, for legacy work, and being able to gather all of the stories in a box and put it together for a family. And I'm sure we're going to hear about more of those types of things at the expo as well.
Yes, absolutely. And that's, there's so many wonderful things coming up for the expo, and having these insights for people to see who we are. So when they get to the expo, they say, oh, I remember I spoke with, or I saw, or I participated in a comment in the Facebook page and whatever it is. And there's Evo, and I'm going to go visit with her and find out some more about these virtual memorials. Those virtual glasses that you wear.
VR headsets or smart glasses, yeah.
Yeah, could you explain a little bit about those? I mean, do you put like a chip into it so that you can go in this virtual? How does it work?
So, I mean, we've done a lot of different virtual experiences that are VR based, and there are many different types of VR worlds and VR places to do that. Last year, I organized in a number of different worlds, like Mozilla Hubs is one that we could actually visit together anytime. And Mozilla Hubs is on the web as well as in VR. So I created a lakeside retreat using Mozilla Hubs tool Spoke early on for anyone to host their own memorial in a 3D space. So you could use that space today. I can give you a link. You can go there, you can host your own memorials for 25 people and put a live stream into that space, and it's available free to use. So there are spaces that exist outside of, for example, the big app stores and the different types of VR proprietary solutions. And that's what we refer to as the open metaverse. So I work on open metaverse interoperability and how these technologies are all going to come together. But they are like links, URLs, except that they are URLs with a 3D world on the other side. And that 3D world could be anything at all. And in some 3D worlds, you can do really cool things. And in some 3D worlds, you can only do very specific things. And it depends on the type of experience every single time. So figuring out how to sort of set those dials and say, all right, I need a free and open room that's going to work on a mobile phone today for 20 people. That's part of, again, what I do at Playable is figuring out that solution based on the problem. And then honestly, we've created a lot of open spaces that are available for anyone to use. And so that's what we refer to as the open metaverse. And I believe that that's the future of the public commons. If you're thinking about like, what is PBS for VR? It's this open metaverse approach, which is all happening on the web and on our mobile phones right now.
Metaverse, that was the word you used earlier. Metaverse. So
yeah.
You're talking with a person like me who has no idea about the words you're using, like metaverse and what that will look like. And so before we even get into that, I mean, I'm blown away at technology, and I'm trying to be on the cutting edge of everything, and boy, I'm not. And I know enough to do silly things, and then I have to contact you. What did I just do? And so in Hopin, the platform that we're going to be using for the expo, is there a way to have a virtual space in one of our rooms?
What you end up doing is you create a adjacent, like a Mozilla Hubs room on a link, and then you put it in as one of those expo room streams, and you can create a feed to it. So that's the easiest way to link them, is you're doing it in, Hopin doesn't have a 3D solution baked in right now, but you can use an adjacent solution like Mozilla Hubs.
So do people leave Hopin to go to that?
Yeah, so it would be like going to a lounge adjacent. Like, let's say, if you were doing this at our hotel, it would be like, let's go to the lounge and have a talk. And then you would go to the lounge, but you could decide to stream that lounge back to your expo rooms in Hopin. So if you wanted to create a link where people can watch a conversation, let's say you wanted to do a fireside chat and just have it be a VIP conversation for 20 people, you can still stream that back into Hopin so everyone can watch it.
I love that idea.
There's lots of different ways to roll it. Yeah.
Yeah, but the ability and the availability of rolling it is amazing. I'm so excited.
Well, you and I are going to do a deep dive in a few months. We're going to do a deep dive, and I'm going to show you, let's say, 3 different worlds. And then you're going to say, okay, let's make this happen in this space. And that's how we do it. Usually, 3 to 6 months before an event, we look at the different worlds and the different options out there. And we look at the problems that you're trying to solve, right? How do you bring people together in a meaningful way where they can have a good conversation together and leave with something more than they came with, leave with maybe ideas, new collaborators or new partners to work with.
Right. I really want to be able to have stop everything. Here's an hour of networking over here. You can go to networking. You can go to storytelling. Right. And I'd love to see how that would work on a
let's you and I do that as a partnered live stream, because I think you and I can bust out all of these different options for a pretty wide variety of people and make it pretty easy to pick from those solutions based on a little tour. And I can give you that tour together on a different live stream. So Michelle, I'm really excited to see how we decide to play together for the expo. I really want to see this be something that is both meaningful for people, but also something that we can come with a lighter heart, even as we're holding heavy things, right? So many of us, I lost 20 friends this year. I feel many of you are in similar shoes, and we need places to come where we can rebuild, regenerate in a form. So I'm excited to create that space with you, Michelle.
I'm excited. I am more than excited. I'm over the top excited. And we've got like, yes, another minute with that. I'm just really, really excited. Now, you have designed, different levels of care and intimacy in your memorials online. And are they mostly all in Zoom?
No, we've used a wide variety of tools. I would say Mozilla Hubs is a fairly common one because it is free and open and easy to use. And it does provide that 3D space. Zoom is typically where we know we can get, let's say, we can level up a 300 to 500 person permission list, and many memorials cap out higher than some of the sort of webinar tools out there. We've used other webinar tools as well to varying degrees of success, so your mileage may vary there. It helps to have a participatory solution. So there are other places, obviously, Run the World or Hopin could even do a virtual memorial, but sometimes those places are more set up for conferencing and not really for like the kind of conversation you want to have at a memorial. I haven't seen a platform that is specific to this need, and we might or might not see that. I think we're seeing other types of technology solutions that are add-ons, like what we were talking about with AI legacy products, or for example, ways to encapsulate the experience for people, not necessarily the live memorial experience, but the sort of life shared experience, how you create some media from that. I think that there's a lot of innovation happening in that space right now, especially. And those things are really useful for memorial creation, especially if you've never done this before. Especially if it's your first time trying to figure it out, having a tool that makes the videos for you is wonderful, right? That just takes a load off. It makes it one step easier.
Absolutely, because you got you have these like these insight sessions I record on my computer, but I can't send them out. I can't send recording out unless I upload it to Vimeo, get it there so I can send it out. It's just, that step that you're taking away, which is awesome.
Right. And there are ways to make your own, for example, streaming channels of this content, but they are expensive for nonprofits and for independent groups to use. So figuring out how to reduce the barriers to entry so that more of us can be sharing these stories, I think is it's the work of many of us in this field right now. So I'm honored to be here with you and be a part of it.
Thank you. Thank you. You're a graduate of Singularity University, GSP. I don't know I tried to look up GSP.
Graduate student. It's their graduate student program. There was an executive program separate from the graduate student program, and GSP was basically a not an MBA and not a typical MA, but like a postdoc master's for professionals interested in both technology and entrepreneurship to solve problems, especially social impact problems. So it was a social impact grad school incubator of sorts at NASA Ames in Silicon Valley. And I was given a scholarship to do that work. And then we started an ed tech company out of that. And honestly, many of those folks have been many of my best teachers and collaborators over the last decade.
Wow. Of course it's graduate.
Yeah, I think they were just, yes, everyone likes their acronyms for different reasons. Michelle, I have to get going, but this has been such a delightful journey. I need to sign off now, but I hope we're going to continue this conversation in September, if we can, and really like bust out a full tour of those spaces and worlds that we might continue having these community experiences in.
Well, I want to thank you for your time today. I know how you're how busy you are. And we'll be in touch later. And I'll just continue with this conversation a little bit further as you leave us. And
Yeah.
this was Evo Heyning, and she is an amazing woman in this world. I'm going to say woman. The energy that she expounds upon is just amazing. And we are all going to look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you so much, Michelle.
Thank
It's
you,
been an honor
Eva.
to be here, and I'll see you again soon.